rather than like hoping to draw into a payoff card. The pressure is here. Well, we're going. So I could consider getting basics, I guess. Which I think I probably should do. So I can get a mountain and then an island or forest. Let's get island towards casting show and tell, I guess. I will cast it. Opponent surely has to have something. Yeah. So now we'll hope to find a show and tell into Omniscience and Grizzlebrand. Interesting. Lightning Bolt still in opponent's deck, just as a way to close out the game. You're one card too late. All right. So now a green mana source lets us try again with backup. All right. A green source lets us try twice. But it has to be this next turn here, because I know my opponent has a bolt. So, like, any land just means I'm in trouble. Shoot! Have you ever misdirectioned a lethal lightning bolt onto a Delver before? It feels like that's something that might end up happening. Deck. This one's on you. This one's on you, deck. I really just wanted opponent to lightning bolt me and then, like, totally get him. Opponent indeed saw the line of not finding a red source. That was my out there. That's how I won. So still a little unsure about like my game one hand, like whether or not like the turn 2 was good enough on 7. I don't exactly have a feel for how aggressive I should get with the mulligans. Good luck, have fun. You too. So our hand doesn't actually doing anything. Suspending Hypergenesis isn't actually all that cool. Let's mulligan. So I guess we're pretending to look like a control deck for a couple of turns and just like keeping this. Because I have 3 different enablers here plus mana. So all I need to do is draw a piece of fat. I think I will keep this. And we're just going to try to look like a nice, normal control deck for a little while. When my opponent says good luck, have fun, I usually assume they're playing Red Prison. Yeah, we Hypergenesis now, boys and girls. We Hypergenesis now. No, this one wasn't a bribe. This was Phil can't play the deck he was planning on playing tonight and is scrambling to come up with something fun and interesting to play. And this was the result. Opponent is also playing unfair things. Blue-black Reanimator. All right. All right, the jig is up. You can see my hand. Well, we're very good at drawing one half of our deck this game. So we've got that going for us. All right, you animate dead a Grizzlebrand. Oddly enough, that's not necessarily game over. Like, it's bad, but I feel like Grizzlebrand is definitely beatable. Okay, so I'm going to do something that looks crazy. I think I'm supposed to cast one of these enablers and see if my opponent will counter it to get a counterspell out of their hand. They already have a Grizzlebrand in play. It already has gone badly. We're aware that it has gone badly. But this is just me baiting a counterspell. Like something like getting a Daze or a Force out of their hand is good. So we cast a Hypergenesis. I feel brilliant. Deep analysis. All right. What if they let it resolve and put in like 5 things? I don't think they're going to let it resolve. A Fatal Push. Okay, they've got a decent amount of interaction. Now, I think I'm supposed to lead with the Shardless Agent because it has power and toughness. So, like, if my opponent cracks in for 6 and then pays 7 to draw more cards for some reason, then, like, there are worlds where my little 2 points of damage are actually relevant to the game state. Similarly, Shardless Agent plays around something... Well, no, I guess it doesn't. Ooh, more Force of Will, not Soft Permission. The Soft Permission I could have played around. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in the towel there because I have 2 copies of Hypergenesis and I don't have the ability to shuffle them back in right now. Opponent says, Eureka Towel? Smiley face. So my opponent's playing against Reanimator, so Leyline of the Void seems pretty sick. And Ashen Rider to, like, get rid of things that they can put in off of my stuff seems good as well. So that's 7 cards. It's a good number of cards. Actually, maybe when I'm on the play, I'm not even supposed to Leyline of the Void. Maybe on the play, I'm just supposed to go for it, and then on the draw, I'm supposed to play Leylines. That makes sense. So what if I, like, just board in some Ashen Riders, like maybe over some Chancellors, and maybe, like, one of the counter spells? That seems okay to me. On the draw, I'll play Leylines. We are 1 mana away from comboing off in 2 different directions. But I still think we ship this one. Potentia, thank you very much for your continued support. Alright, so we're 1 mana away from comboing off with a Force of Will as backup. That seems pretty okay. Note, if my opponent Thought Seizes me, I might need to just Force of Will it, because otherwise they can put a Grizzlebrand into the yard and, like, reanimate my Grizzlebrand. That's slightly awkward. Slightly awkward is indeed a way to put it. So we want to save Force of Will and Show and Tell to go together, so we will Violent Outburst. Yeah, you can Brainstorm. We'll see if they put in something dumb like an Ashen Rider. They have their own Grizzlebrand. Do I want to draw 7 cards right now? I don't think I do. I don't think I want to discard any cards. You can Entomb. Yeah, I think I'll just take that hit. I'm really just hoping to be able to produce an Emrakul on their turn. Do I force a will that? I guess it would bounce my Grizzlebrand. So I can show and tell an Ashen Rider on my turn. Do I just pay that? Or do I save that for my own show and tell? Pay it! I guess I should probably pay it. I've done it for the memes. I can just get a bunch more mana on my turn by just attacking with Grizzlebrand and drawing 7. So the Urzas were like 35 some odd ticks. I think the Karns were 20 something each. I think the Opals were 20 something each, and it just kind of added up. I have someone lined up to lend me the cards next week, so like it's not a problem at all. But I just couldn't get them in, the hour right before my stream without any planning. The name of the deck is Make Them Have It. We're gonna make them have it. That is indeed the plan. I wonder what they're thinking about. I wonder if they're thinking, like, do I hold up a Spell Pierce? Do I Thoughtseize? Do I reanimate a Grave Titan? Opponent probably has a decent number of potential plays. They just have to figure out what is best. My best draw, not close, would be like probably an Omniscience. Just show and tell, Omniscience, Emrakul, extra turn, lethal you. And just back one step. Shoutouts to one of my sponsors, Card Hoarder, by the way, for like lending me all of the various cards that I need. They gave me a $500 loan account, which is very, very generous and lets me play all of the crazy decks that you see on stream here. I own Death and Taxes and a lot of the offshoots of it, but I don't actually own very many blue cards, believe it or not. I think of the cards in this deck, I own like the Force of Wills and maybe a couple of the fetch lands. So Card Hoarder has been very good to me, and the Legacy Premier League as well. While my opponent is tanking here, I'm going to double check. I'm going to see whose matches are up on the Legacy Premier League this week. I think it's Pleasant Kenobi, Bond. Who else is it? Yeah, Group B. Yeah, Bryant Cook, Caleb Durward, Pleasant Kenobi, and Lampin, Michael Bond. Looking forward to that. I might get to do some commentary on some D&T matches this week, which would be cool. I don't think we have our commentator schedule figured out yet. I think I was interested, Jarvis was interested, Eric Landon was interested. kind of see what comes together. All right. My opponent, after tanking for quite a while on what I assume is a very difficult decision, has just decided to discard. All right. What do we have for me, Grizzlebrand? Oh, those are cards. Those are cards. So we cast a show and tell with force of will backup and the ability to pay for a daze. Unfortunate. Well, no, we can pitch the Shardless Agent Force of Will, so we don't have to pitch Omniscience. I can indeed show intel in Shardless Agent. It's the dream everyone thinks about when they are a young, budding Magic player. We are dead on board if my opponent can beat this show and tell. So they left 1 mana up. Do you have something else? No! Double Force of Will! No! GG. I accept my death. Grizzlebrand indeed doing great work on both sides of the battlefield. That's going to be a nope from me. I think we're playing super fair and just going for turn 3 Omniscience Emrakul. I don't really love that, but I think that's where we're at with this hand. I don't feel like I've played perfectly, but I also feel like we've really had suboptimal hands. Oh god. It's dredge. Isn't a turn 3 time walk 15-15 Armageddon fair? It's like so slow. Turn 3, so many things could happen by then. Opponent might not have any dredgers. Wow. Opponent's hand is stacked as soon as they get a dredger. My god. Here we go. What are you bringing to class, friend? I'm bringing an Omniscience. Bonus points if you bring a bridge from below. You have brought a Cephalid Coliseum. How do you feel about Emrakul? The Aeon's Torn. Tentacle monster from another time and place. I almost want a violent outburst as Emrakul to deal 16. Oh, come on. Like, please do it. Ah. My opponent can potentially make some zombies here. Correction. A zombie boy. Yeah, so burnt flapjack. I was F2ing, which means I pass as long as the stack is empty. So if my opponent had cast a spell, I would have had the opportunity to respond to it. So I wasn't F6ing, which just is like, I have no response whatsoever, no matter what you do. All right, you get some sweet Cabal therapy names. What do you got for me? Brainstorm. Sure. You can produce a Hogak now. And that's all fine and well. Minus the 15/15 friend I have coming. Are you going to name Violent Outburst, or are you going to name a funny card? You're going to name Violent Outburst. I mean, opponent is showing me that they can produce a lot of zombies. And I respect that and everything. So now they're going to target themselves, put in their dredger back into the graveyard, recast the Hogak, die to taking 15 damage. Yeah, like if opponent had a Narcomoeba in play that could block the Emrakul after sacrificing 6 zombies, it's a totally different question, right? All right, so ley lines seem sweet versus dredge. We'll board those, and that's probably it. We probably don't need misdirections. And I can trim somewhere else. My Force of Wills, I suppose, aren't nearly as relevant. Like, I can use them to try to stop what my opponent is doing, but I basically just want to go faster than them. Rather than try to disrupt them, other than with Leyline, because Leyline will buy me many, many, many turns. I think this is fine. I guess there could also be an argument for, like, just junking the Force of Wills and playing just 2 Ashen Riders or something like that. Just something else that can be a payoff card. Keep. We go off on turn 2 with Leyline of the Void. and 2 different enabler cards. This is strong. I will perform an opening hand action. Thank you very much. Faithless Looting and Careful Study feel a lot less good when you're not getting the degenerate value off of them. Yeah, there goes another pedal as well. JD, you're just in time to watch this poor man, or rat, whatever, be real sad. Cephalid Coliseum looking less good. Note, the GP deck list didn't actually have Volcanic Island. It had a Steam Vents instead. Actually, I guess let's, like, technically Shardless Agent. I think that's just better. I will cast Hypergenesis. I'm going to put in a Hypergenesis. Sorry, I'm going to put in an Omniscience. You have a Golgari Grave Troll. I respect that. I guess we can put in the Elder Spirit Guide. That seems fine. No, we'll hard cast the Emrakul. Yeah. All right. We have gotten on the board. We have proved that this deck can do things. They have a Grave Troll. What's a state-based effect again? So here's your Golgari Grave Troll factoid of the day. If you somehow reanimate a Golgari Grave Troll with, say, a Dread Return, when you're determining its power and toughness, it actually counts itself. Like, when it's created, it looks and sees itself in the graveyard before it's actually in play. Which is really weird and, like, slightly counterintuitive. That's something that I didn't know about until I, like, played against a Dredge player and they told me that, and I called a judge to confirm. That was really weird to me. Alright, so we just have, like, nothing? We have no payoff card here. We just have the ability to go for it 3 different ways and a dead Hypergenesis in hand. I think this one's a mulligan. So again, we have no payoff card here. I think I'm going to mulligan this one as well. Now we have no enabler, and we're on 5. I could keep, like, Land, Spirit Guide, Emrakul, Grizzlebrand, pitch Misdirection Land, and then just need an enabler to go off. Ugh. I think this is the point where you keep that, though. First hand feels a lot better versus Island than this hand. Should have played Scalding Tarn first. All right. You can have my Elvish Spirit Guide. I accept this. Kind of goes without saying, but really don't like my positioning in this match as of right now. Because we need both land and an enabler, and preferably a counterspell as well before trying to go off. So, not feeling great. My kingdom for a brainstorm. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. It's not good, but it's not death. A Dak Faden. Sure. Hmm. Yeah, Jim, I'm convinced our hands have been far below average tonight. Not brainstorm confirmed. Now my opponent just gets to like loot away all their crap. Just like find counter spells. Alright, so we have an enabler. Still need mana. Yeah, I think I'd give up one card to draw one. Like, I'd be totally happy with draw one, discard two at this point. So I could go for it here, but I don't think it favors me to go for it. I kind of just want to wait until I can go for it with Violent Outburst during their turn, and then like a Show and Tell or something during my turn. Like we're under no pressure in terms of life total. And we could potentially play around soft permission that our opponent has just by making more land drops. All right, so real questions. How many mana producing lands do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tyrant Scorn? Is that the burn sacrifice spell? No. It's a bounce spell. Okay. In response to that, I need to do something. I think Wrenn 6 is a card that is one of the best things that you can be doing in any sort of fair matchup. I think the card has put a ton of pressure on tribal decks and has invalidated a good number of archetypes. I don't know that the card is ban worthy. Like, I would be very happy to see it go, personally. But I don't know that it actually deserves it. Like, I don't know that it is, like, objectively all that much more powerful than other things that you can be doing. Alright, opponent has a lot of, interesting cards in their deck. A lot of very situational one-ofs that, like, Narset and Dak Faden can dig them towards. That's not what I want to draw. Still about 10 mana away from casting an Emrakul. Which, who knows? Maybe we'll do it if my opponent keeps just dirtling around over there. Note, the Wrenn and 6 emblem allowing them to, like, flashback all that stuff that's in the graveyard is unbeatable. So I think I will just concede if my opponent ultimates the Wrenn. But until they do that, I feel like I'm okay. Like, Drown in the Lock, for example, just, like, counters Hypergenesis or Show and Tell as long as they have a land. Your Thoughtseize does nothing. I also just have to assume that their hand is absolutely stacked after all of that looting. Here we go, Show and Tell. You have 2 mana for Drown in the Lock? You do. Alright, we tried. So, what are we doing in terms of sideboarding? Nothing? Feels like nothing. Like, we could Leyline to protect from discard, but I'm just not sure that that's worth the slots. I think we just jam and see what's up. I also don't know how someone made such a deep run at the GP with this deck. Like, maybe I'm approaching this wrong and I'm, like, mulliganing some hands that are slow but are totally acceptable. But I've had far fewer, like, turn 1s than I was expecting with this deck. So, see, like, this is super awkward, right? This is a turn 2 go for it, but then I don't get to try a second time ever with one of these due to Hypergenesis. And, like, one Thoughtseize or one Counterspell completely cripples this hand. So I think I have to mulligan this one. This hand is much better. So I want to keep the Chancellor in hand so that my opponent can't discard spell me on turn 1. I think it's correct to pitch the Emrakul and just be totally fine with Omniscience into Chancellor. So now opponent's piece of interaction needs to be a Force of Will, because then they can pay for it with Chancellor. The timing of that brainstorm main phase is kind of weird. Alright. That one way better. Why can't we do that more often? Okay. So we have probably a turn 1 effective win. So I'll keep this one. I'll reveal Chancellor. Okay. My opponent gets to play a land. Then I fetch a blue source and jam Shardless Agent down their throat on turn 1. We confirmed. Cast Hypergenesis. Oh, it just, like, works? That's weird. So I guess I'll put in a Chancellor. I'll put in a Grizzlebrand. And my opponent concedes. They didn't even let me finish resolving my spell. How rude. Alright. So, the hands where you can go for it on turn 1 with 2 pieces of backup, those are good. So, let's try to do that more often. The 3-2 dream is alive. It is certainly fun. So, what does this hand do? I'm on the draw. This hand can currently go for it on turn 3 with a Mana Tithe. Nah. So this hand's weird. This hand has the possibility of casting a Show and Tell on turn 1 if I draw a fatty. How many fatties do I have? Accepting Omniscience as a fatty. 16 hits for a fatty. Is that enough? Feels like that's a no. Like we get 16 out of 53, followed by 16 out of 52. I think I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. This is better. So we'll keep this. I think I'm going to send back the Taiga, because then I can just go like basic, 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 and I'll send back the Misdirection. We're super dead to a Thoughtseize. Mountain Go. Let's look like Red Prism. As you ponder for your basic land. Trying not to get Blood Mooned. I'm in. Daze me. Daze me. Do it for the chat. Yes! No! You hate fun. Why do you hate fun, Mr. or Mrs. Blackbird 87? Yeah, this one's spicy. It's fun. Note, my opponent does have stifles. So that's something to be cognizant of for later. I should have fetched in response to that, by the way. Should have gotten a forest there. Arena only has new cards on it. Opponent apparently like super brainstorm locked over there. Am I gonna try to beat them down with spirit guides? It kind of feels like that's what's happening. If I knew I was going to draw another spirit guide, like, I really would have considered just, like, hard casting the other one the previous turn and putting pressure on them. Hello, my ape friend. Join my elf friend for a little party. Legacy is the greatest format. In case that wasn't very clear already. Gray Ogre Tribal. I have my opponent on a 3-turn clock with these idiots. Play your true name Nemesis and then don't attack because I have double Simian Spirit Guide. Man, if I had a blue card, snap Force of Will at Tarmogoyf. Just continue to beat in. We may end up hardcasting a Force of Will this game as a tempo play. Mismatching arts on Tarmogoyfs. I think you're supposed to attack with one of those there. I also think I'm supposed to wait until I have a blue card before casting that Chartless Agent. Sure. I think my fair beatdown plan is probably off the table, so I'm just going to preserve my life total here. Take the jump. I will have to go for the combo next turn, even if it's not necessarily safe, just because, you know, I'll die. Ooh, don't Thoughtseize me. Oh, play a Gurmag. Gurmag's fine. Alright, so we're going to start by fetching, because that can bait a Stifle. Surely you have something. Yeah, there we go. We just really needed a blue card that game. I accept my death. And again, I feel kind of like we just go for it. We don't go and muck with our sideboard at all. Like, we have things that we can do, but I don't necessarily think that they're good. I think we just try to go fast and go under the Delver deck. If we can go off on turn 1 or 2 with, like, Force, Chancellor, or Misdirection, I just feel like that's a great place to be. I would like to play first. So, if this hand draws a Spirit Guide, and there's 8 of those, then on turn 2 I can show and tell with Chancellor Protection. I think I'm going to keep